Hey guys, M.V.K here, back. How's everybody doing? I'm here again to deliver your answers to a new themed Q&A for this month, and I have got all your questions that you had bestowed upon me on the Patreon. So all the patrons who participated and asked questions, I'm looking forward to answering your questions. So what was the theme? The theme this month was the SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron. Yeah, SWAT Kats. Bet you all didn't think I was gonna do that, but SWAT Kats, of course, if most of you probably don't remember, or you don't remember, or you have never seen it before, because maybe you're too young, or maybe you're SWAT Kats was a animated series that debuted in 1993. It was an early 90s cartoon. It ran for 2 seasons. It was created by Hanna-Barbera, and it starred 2 anamorphic cats who become vigilantes after they are fired from their version of the police force. They were called the enforcers. However, they caused the accident. They didn't really cause the accident, but they were also responsible for it. And to work off their debt, they had to play mechanics in their city called Cat City. The 2 characters were named Jake and Chance. Chance Furlong, I believe that was the name, and Jake Long, I believe. Jake, yeah, one of them. I can't remember Jake's last name, but Chance Furlong, I think, was one of the names. And while they were in while they became, junk men, or mechanics, and they had all this junk in this junkyard, they basically built their own jet. It called it the Turbo Cat, and became these vigilantes called the SWAT Kats, and that's kind of how it played off. It was fun. The second season probably had the better animation, because they really went very anime with the second season compared to the first. They had their own rogues gallery and people like that. And I've seen the questions some of you guys even asked about them. The first episode debuted September 11th, 1993. So yeah, and it's very fun. It was a fun series. It was nostalgic. I know there are there's rumors, or there's a remake coming out. So yeah, their code names was T-Bone and Razor. So Chance Furlong was T-Bone. He was the pilot, and Jake Razor Clawsome, he was the the navigator and the co-pilot. He's the one that occupied the weapon systems of the Turbo Cat. So yes, and that's kind of the basis of SWAT Kats, if you don't know. But I had gave you guys some time, and I wanted to give you. I usually give about 3 weeks or 4 weeks to see how many people. And there were enough people. Maybe not a lot that I expected. I expected more, and that's probably just me. But yeah, I expected more. But I got what I got, and I appreciate it. I'm appreciative of it. So let's kick this off, shall we? We're gonna kick this off with the first question. The first 3 questions that come from Ben Awatu. Ben, you asked, T-Bone or Razor, who was your favorite? Razor was my favorite. I like T-Bone, but I was more of a Razor fan. Razor spoke to me more because he was also he wasn't just the kick-ass. He was intelligent. He was smart, and a lot of the stuff that the Turbo Cat had is because of him. You know, yeah, you need the pilot, which was T-Bone, but Jake had a lot more, or T-Bone Razor had a lot more going than T-Bone, in my opinion. Number 2, favorite villain. My favorite villain will probably have to be. I'm gonna go with Dr. Viper. I actually like Dr. Viper a lot. Dr. Viper was he was the scientist in the SWAT Kats, and he had turned himself into like a lizard. So he kind of reminded you of the lizard, but he was like mixed with the lizard and I can't think about another character, but yeah, I guess you could say a little bit lizard, a little bit Dr. Connors, a little bit Victor Freeze in a sense, but he was cool. He was definitely cool. Like that. That was my favorite. But I had others I liked. Number 3, favorite episode of the series. Okay, favorite episode of the series. Favorite episode of the series. Oh man, I'm trying to think, because I had my answer last night when I was putting my answers together. More than likely, it's the episode that it mainly was the episode where, well, there's 2 actually. It's a tie. One of them is the origin of the SWAT Kats. They did do an origin where we got to see how they became the SWAT Kats, and it involved them as enforcers. They were cops, and they were chasing one of the big bads of the SWAT Kat universe called Dark Cat, and they had him. They had Dark Cat. They were ready to shoot him down because Dark Cat wasn't complying, and their superior Commander Farrell basically said, "Back off, I got him," and they didn't. And then Farrell just knocked them out of the sky. They crashed. They shot off a missile and destroyed the headquarters of the Mega Cat, the Mega Cat Enforcer headquarters. And Jake and Razor basically they're not backing down from their commanding officer, Commander Farrell. They're like, "We had him, sir. Like, and if you didn't get in our way, we would have." And they basically and then basically Farrell got butt hurt and said, "You're fired. You're fired. You're off the team. You're off the police force." And they said, "Suits us." But then they still had to pay for the damages, and that's when they had to take over this junkyard, and they talked about getting their own jet, making their own jet, and getting back in the air, and becoming these vigilantes, and it was fun. That was a good one, and that was fun. And then the second episode I really liked was there was a tie. Like I said, the episode that ties it up will probably be the episode. There was an episode where Dark Cat again. It was Dark Cat again, and he basically had some of his operatives basically fake getting injured by the SWAT Kats, and it ruined Razor's confidence, because after that he was really scared of shooting missiles and things like that. So that was also good. That was a good episode, just showing how conniving Dark Cat could be. So yeah, that's another. I forget the names of the episodes, but those are definitely 2 episodes that are tied for some of my favorites. I got more, but that's definitely one. Next, you have a Comic Guy J990, and he says, "My favorite episode of the SWAT Kats was when they weren't always in the Turbo Cat. That's the name of the jet. Did you feel the same way?" Yes, I will say yes, I did. There were times, yeah, I felt like each episode they were always in the jet, in the Turbo Cat, and it was like, and they kind of played that up in the series too. Like a lot of their villains, their road gallery said, if we get them out of that jet, they're nothing, and they did. And in Dark Cat, he had put together an entire like kind of like a Sinister Six like type group. It was Dark Cat, Dr. Viper, the Metallic Cats. Yeah, that was about it. I think, and was it the Metallic Cats and Hard Drive? Hard Drive was kind of like Electro. He had like this suit on. He had this suit, this jacket that would make him like electrified, and he could like go in the suit. And he was in. So yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I do like when they were outside of the Turbo Cat. Like when they just stayed mostly in the church, I was like, come on, like get them out of there for a while. Number 2, thoughts on Mayor Manx. Mayor Manx was the comic relief, and Mayor Manx was the mayor of Mega Cat City, but he was also a coward. He was completely a coward, and he was an imbecile. Most of the stuff that Mayor Manx, you would think Mayor Manx did as the mayor, that came from Callie, the deputy mayor. She did all the work, and it's almost to the point you would have thought she was the mayor. But he was a big coward, and he comes from his family legacy. He had a hero in his legacy, his family, called the Blue Manx. He's kind of like a World War I, a World War II like hero. His grandfather was, but they called it the Great War, something like that. But yeah, he was a coward. He would always just be like, vote for me, and he had like this strong, I guess it sounded Scottish, like North English accent. It was just funny. But yeah, he was a coward. There were even parts where I was like, take him off. I didn't care. Thoughts on Deputy Mayor Briggs. I loved Callie. Callie was great. She was the ally to the SWAT Kats. She would call them in for help and things like that. And she was also very kind to them, even outside of their costume. So, and I think she had a crush on Jake Razor or Chance. No, Razor. Razor was Jake. Yeah, yeah. I think she had a crush on him, but yeah, it was fun. She was great. And number 4, did you want to see an origin of Dark Cat? Definitely. I would have loved to see it. I would have loved an episode of the origin of Dark Cat, where he came from. Why did he have these little creeplings? They look like little gargoyles. He was like the big bad. They did origins of the Metallic Cats. They did origins of Dr. Viper, and his origin didn't come to season 2. And they also did the origin of Mad Cat. He was like this magical jester like villain. I mean, he was only used one time. He was never used again. But yeah, I would love to have seen a Dark Cat origin episode. So thank you, Comic Guy, for those questions. We move on to Tom Hilbert. And Tom asks, if they had to make a sequel series, how would you do it? I don't know when this prequel or new series is coming out, but they made a sequel. How would I do it? I would most likely have kept it still the same art style after season 2. I would have probably had Commander Farrell leave or retire, and his niece took over. and the SWAT Kats would have finished their debt and cleared themselves, but they would have other uses for themselves, and of course bring in new characters, new villains, and some of the old villains that didn't, you know, were still around, things like that. So yeah. Question: who was your favorite side character? I just talked about that. Deputy Mayor Briggs. She was my favorite. Your third question: what would you say makes SWAT Kats so good? Just the vibe, and you know, the nostalgia of it, and you know, I'm always cool with like having anamorphic, you know, characters. Like, this world is full of cats, and I don't hate cats. I like cats, you know. So it's actually cool. So, and things like that. That's what made it. And the humor was good, you know, things like that. You had a lot of veteran voice acting talent on the series. You know, it was at a time when Hanna-Barbera was putting out a lot of great cartoons. So yeah, that's what made it good. Number 4, did you ever find it weird that a canceled episode eventually became Scooby-Doo on Zombie? Wait, what? What? Wait, what? Canceled episode? When was that? That's new to me. Somebody explain that to me. Indeed. And Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is one of my favorite Scooby-Doo animated films. So that's interesting. But thank you, Tom, for the questions. Next up, we have Elijah Hughes. If you were to work alongside T-Bone and Razor, what would your SWAT Kat name be? Well, first I would have to be an anamorphic cat. That's the first thing. My code name. It's T-Bone. There was Razor. Spark Plug or something. Yeah, Spark Plug. Yeah, I guess, yeah, something like that, maybe. Spark Plug. Yeah. Thank you for the questions. Next question, Lorenzo Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls. Was there ever a SWAT Kat video game? Not that I know of. I don't think so. I don't ever think there was a SWAT Kat game. Wasn't the voice actor of Razor voiced by the OG Donatello voice actor from Ninja Turtles? Yes, he was. Yes, he did. The original Donatello voice from the 80s cartoon, the original, he voiced Razor. So yes, that is true. Your next question. Next question. What is another one of what is another one of your favorite SWAT Kats villains? Well, outside of Dr. Viper, Dr. Viper is my favorite. Next would probably be the McTallicats. I like them a lot. You know, Molly and Max, they got basically they got killed. They got their bodies they were escaping from the prison where they were, and it was foggy, and they didn't see a boat coming, and the boat basically hit them, and it basically implied they died. But a doctor saved them by putting their brains into these robot bodies, and they became the McTallicats. That's definitely my favorite. They're my second favorites because they also had character, and they weren't just. You could tell that they actually did care about each other. Even they were married, but yeah, they cared. It wasn't like they were like just terrible to each other. They actually cared. There was an episode where, you know, one of them got absorbed into this machine, and you know, Molly was like, "You're gonna help me get my Mac back," and I'm like, "Oh, she cares. Like, she actually cares about it." It was a good episode. Um, so yeah, I would definitely say that, Lorenzo. That's another one. And your fourth question is, how would you have felt if the SWAT Kats met the Road Rovers? The SWAT Kats meeting the Road Rovers. That would have been interesting. Cats, dogs. That'd have been interesting. I wonder how that would turn out. How would you do that though? That would be interesting. It would have to be one of the group of characters going into somebody's world to make it work. I just don't think it could be just done without it. But I would be fine with it if they did it. But it would need to work. And Road Rovers they're more comedic than action based like the SWAT Kats were. But I would think it'd be cool. It'd be an interesting crossover. Thank you, Lorenzo, for those questions. Let's move on to Quentin Blake. You asked, do you want an open world game of them? I think it's a little too late for a SWAT Kats game, but I would have played it if they did do an open world SWAT Kats game. And who do you want to cross over? If they did a crossover, probably the biggest crossover it would more than likely be that's tough though. There's too many to really count. One of them, and I can't answer because I think I'm looking at the questions and somebody actually asked this, so I'll make you put that when I get to that question. If they had a comic book, what comic book company should make it and make it? And should there be a live action movie, or if you directed it? Okay. Well, okay. First of all, I think this is another question that I'll answer with another one. That's why I always tell you guys, watch your questions, because I see people asking the same questions. So I'm gonna wait for that question too. In terms of I don't think a live action cartoon would work. Especially not today. Maybe back in the day, yes, but not a live action, SWAT Kats movie. No, because I think a lot of it's just messed up because of cats. Remember how bad that was? Yeah, so no. So thank you, Quentin. Zachary Thompson asks the next question. He says, would you like a SWAT Kats Ninja Turtles crossover? What do you think? Yeah, I would. That right there answers also the question that Quentin asked about who would I want them to cross over. There you go. Turtles? Yeah, I'd take the Turtles. The other one would probably be Thundercats. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Your next question is, would the SWAT Kats still have been fired from the police force if they did catch Dark Cat? Look, what did I just tell you? No, they probably wouldn't, but Pharaoh would probably have taken the glory of it and probably found some way to make them pay for whatever. Do you like Commander Pharaoh? No, I do not like Commander Pharaoh. I'm not a big fan of him. He's basically your stereotype. He's like J. Jonah Jameson, but as a cop. And so he's like JJ mixed with Jim Gordon, but if Jim Gordon didn't like Batman. There you go. And I like his niece. His niece is cool. They introduced her in season 2. She was Commander Pharaoh's niece, and she was a part of the the enforcers. Indeed. That was 3 questions or 4. I think that was that was actually. Okay, I'm gonna let this slide. I'll let this. It was supposed to be 4 questions, Zach, but I'll let it slide. Your next question is. Your next question was, why everything had to be mega? I don't know. It's just they wanted to do that. I don't know. Your next question, Kira. Next question comes from Kira Sheehan. Kira, you asked, my favorite villains were the SWAT Kats. Okay, there you go. How would you rank them? The SWAT Kats for me would be number 2 on my list of the villains. Right after Dr. Viper. If it was me. Do you feel that they should? Do you feel that they should feel? What? Wait. Do I feel what? Do you feel told call? What? I don't. Wait. What? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you meant by that, Kira. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. Your second question is, what did you feel about the Past Master? The Past Master, yeah. The Past Master was interesting because he was like a ancient wizard, and everything was about the past with him, and he had a real strange obsession with Callie, but her ancestor. And so when he saw Callie in the present, he was like, you just look like Princess Callista, and I'm gonna bring the past back. He was always trying to bring the past back, but he had like this magical talisman of time and his book of spells, and it was fun. It was cool. I remember him bringing back a dinosaur, and they called it a Megasaurus Rex, and like I said, everything was about mega. It was just crazy. I was like, oh my god, like, can they go without saying mega this, mega that? It was funny. So yeah. Your next question is, do you remember the episode where? Do you remember the episode with who? Do you remember the episode? I'm sorry, guys. Do you remember the episode with excuse me. Do you remember the episode where Dark Cat stole the Turbojet? Yes, I remember that. He didn't really steal it. It was what is his name? Hard Drive. He stole it. And that's it. And the last questions come from probably one of my newest Patreons, because I got a Bing that he's a newest Patreon, Adam Strange. Okay. If you could make a new villain for the SWAT Kats, what would it be? Probably I would make a new female villain. They didn't have a lot of female villains. I remember they don't have a lot of female villains, but the last villain I remember that was kind of female was she was like this Russian-like type character. She was actually voiced by the actress who voiced Linka in Captain Planet, and I forget her name. And she liked Razor. She liked T-Bone because he was the pilot. And I forget her name, but that was it. They didn't really have a lot of females, so I would really have a female villain and she would probably be a sorceress or something like that that is more powerful than Taskmaster. So it would take more than science to deal with her. You know, somebody like she would kind of be on that same level as maybe Cersei's from like Wonder Woman, like that. How would you feel if they made a SWAT Kat comic? I would be all for it. And the best company I think that they can do really well with a SWAT Kats comic would be Dynamite. Dynamite now has all the old. You see, Dynamite's coming out with all the old Hanna-Barbera characters like, you know, Herculoids and Space Ghosts and Johnny Quest, and so yeah, I would definitely have them with Dynamite, and that helps Quentin again. Same thing. And who would you have as the creative team? That's tougher because it's tough because who could I see writing SWAT Kats? I want to say Jeff Parker. I think he would have a lot of fun with it. Jeff Parker with probably Jonathan Lau's artwork. So Jeff Parker, Jonathan Lau, or somebody like that. You know, I think that artwork would work. And your next question and your final question is, do you remember the alternate world where the SWAT Kats were the bad guys? Yes, that's another one of my favorite episodes where T-Bone and Razor, they go to this alternate universe where the SWAT Kats are bad and they work for Dark Cat, and Callie is she's bad in that too. So yeah, it was fun, and so we see the good SWAT Kats meet the bad, and the bad ones they had green, they were green looking. It was funny. It was even their weapons looked funny, but it was a good episode. That was fun, fun indeed. So yeah, well, those are all the questions. Like I said, not a lot of questions this time around. Mostly, I guess that was a little maybe difficult in terms of the theme, but that's fine. As always, guys, fine indeed. But next theme is going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do for that one, the questions you get, and I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you guys the theme. So if you are a part of the Patreon, it's for everybody. Leave your four questions. And what is the theme next for May? The first family, Fantastic Four. So I will see you guys next time. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you to everybody who participated. I'm going to now go watch some SWAT Kats. The Radical Squadron. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch some SWAT Kats. Banging music. I'm surprised nobody talked about that. The music was banging too. Good soundtrack for SWAT Kats. But outside of that, you guys take care. I will see you guys next month with the new theme. I will post the post where you guys can submit your questions on the Patreon. So if you are part of my Patreon, go to it, and soon enough you will see there. There are some good things over on the Patreon, some stuff you can watch for yourself. There's right now for free fans, you can get to watch me watch Creature Commandos. There's some exclusive reactions over there. There's some good stuff coming. There's some other segments that are going to be exclusive to the Patreon. For example, Shotgun Saturday Fright will be over there soon. I'm going to put that over there. There's some other segments coming over there as well. But with that being said, you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time. Deuces.